everybody doing tonight? Okay, good. For you who do not know who I am, my name is Dr. Snow. My wife and I have been in holistic healthcare for over a decade, helping the Lake Charles community with natural health. Really excited tonight to talk about this. One of my favorite talks. It's 5 Secrets to Wellness. Talk about permanent weight loss, looking and feeling younger, and correcting type 2 diabetes. So, our mission statement, our big why, is real simple, but it's profound if you think about it, because it goes completely opposite of the paradigm that we all operate on. We're all in this room probably working on the same old paradigm, which is a reactive healthcare model, which means let's wait till it breaks down until you fix it. And then when we get broken down, we use chemical therapies and surgeries to try and fix our body. But what we have found over the last 10 years is that the body is actually designed to live well. And that's what we believe, and that's what the new paradigm is. So that makes you think completely different. So what we focus on is not, we want to repair people for sure, because people are sick and they're broken down. But what we see is instead of just reacting to sickness and symptoms, if we can actually focus on not just getting people better, but keeping people optimally well, then we can do a profoundly different job than what our healthcare system is doing. And yes, we need surgery, and yes, we need medicines, but the condition that people are getting in would be like not completely absent, would be totally different if we learn how the body truly works. And the body is designed to move, so we keep the body moving through exercise, physical therapy, chiropractic is even needed many times with the nervous system and biomechanical issues that come up. And then we actually feed the body properly. The body, from what we've seen, does not get sick, using things like superfoods and whole food nutrients and practicing detoxification techniques. So today we're going to get into some of that. I really like this talk because it actually gives you some principles that if you guys apply that after you leave here today and make it a habit, it will actually change your health condition. So we'll move forward from there. So being overweight is one of the most common single problem health conditions that we face today here in America and across the world today. So diabetes is actually the 7th leading cause of death in the United States. And the thing about this is what we're seeing here. We're all familiar with diabetes. Diabetes, most of this is lifestyle related. It's based on the standard American diet, eating too much carbohydrates, sugars, refined products, things that turn into sugar, and the way that actually damages our physiology, damages our pancreas. And you can see here that diabetes, it says, leads to heart attacks, stroke, high blood pressure, kidney failure, blindness, amputations. But what we're seeing is underlying almost every health condition, whether you're talking about ADD, talking about dementia, Alzheimer's, cancers, hormone imbalance, digestive issues, is actually a pre-diabetic state, and it's a broken down metabolism. So what we're seeing is the foods that we eat are actually damaging our metabolisms. And when our metabolism gets broken, we get tremendous hormone imbalances, inflammation, and deficiencies. And we see that underlying almost every condition that comes into our office. So what's interesting is this lifestyle-related disease is a $174 billion burden on our economy here in the United States. And then with indirect expenses, it's adding up to $116 billion. So just think about that. We're talking about a lifestyle-induced disease that could be changed if we just had a different system of knowledge that we operated on. So this is a study published, CDC. Says 1 in 3 Americans by 2050 could actually have diabetes. So that's 100 million people. 100 million people could have diabetes. So type 2 diabetes is basically when the body, the pancreas is starting to lose its ability to produce insulin, and then it cannot actually process the sugar properly. So the sugar levels rise in the body, and that's where we get things like blindness and amputations, high blood pressure, kidney failure, all these many things like that. So we're going to talk about some of the secrets to health. My biggest thing today, and anytime I have the purpose to have a conversation with somebody or work with a patient, we have lots of knowledge and we have lots of protocols and procedures and techniques that really change people's lives. But what we've seen, especially whether you're giving somebody a treatment plan or you're giving them a diagnosis, you're trying to set up some type of system so they can actually get rid of their symptoms and regain their health. But the biggest thing that we see, the reason why people stay where they are, is they do not take action. How many people have joined the gym before, had a gym membership? Anybody joined the gym? How many of y'all went consistently? Nobody in here has. I talked to one pastor. He kind of treats me like his priest, because he's the pastor. So when we have these nutrition consults, he has this like confession thing going. And he told me, he said, "You're not going to believe this, but I actually have 3 gym memberships. I don't use any of them. They're all in auto drafts." But anyways, real funny thing, but the truth is, if you want to change anything in your life, you have to take what? You have to take action. So my desire for everybody in this room tonight is, I know you're going to get something from this talk, even if it's like one thing, you're going to hear more than one thing, but if you just take action on one thing, you're going to be healthier, your life is going to be different, and you're going to make a change. So I want you guys to take action after we talk tonight. Okay, so does everybody have a stress survey? You got it ready? We've got a pen and a pencil. I like this survey. This is designed to really help you get more out of the talk tonight. And it's to bring awareness to you about things that might be going on in your body. And then I want to teach you how to think differently about that. You have an extra stress survey? I think there's one right there. All right, so I want y'all to participate. I'm asking you to raise your hands. I want you to actually check some things off here. So if y'all come down to box number 1, we have a different collection of symptoms there. So I want you to check the box or raise your hands if you've ever had headaches or migraines. Raise your hands. Yeah, ever. And then check the box if it's been recently in the last 30 days. Raise your hand if you suffer from fatigue. Okay. Check that box there. And then how about pain, tension, and numbness anywhere? Your neck, shoulders, legs, any of that? Okay. Check that off there. And we see this as an epidemic. Raise your hand if you've ever had any sleep problems. Insomnia, yeah. You know what is interesting about that? Is they had a study that came out in the last couple of years, and they want to see the effects of stress on just the average male. So what they did is they basically induced sleep deprivation. They would not allow any of them in the study to have more than 3 hours of sleep. They ran all the blood work before, and then ran all the blood work afterwards, and it was just 2 weeks. And they all had the hemoglobin A1C of a 70-year-old diabetic. So insomnia is another form of stress, and it actually causes cortisol changes and changes on the metabolism. That's a major thing that you want to get corrected there. Raise your hand if you've had any digestive trouble. Constipation. How about sinus problems? Got a few in here with that. And how about dizziness? Weight trouble. Anybody have a weight trouble? Excellent. All right. So here's what we got to think differently about symptoms. First is, when you have a symptom in your body, what is your body trying to tell you? Is it trying to tell you something? Do you think it's trying to tell you something good or something bad's going on? Something bad's going on. But what we've been all taught to do is when you have a symptom, what do we usually do with that symptom? Do you try and cover it up maybe with a pill? How many have had a headache before and you just took an Advil? How many has had a digestive problem or a chronic digestive problem and you took an antacid? Or maybe you took the purple pill, or maybe an acid blocker or something like that. So the thing is we have to realize that when you have a symptom, your body is trying to communicate something to you. And And we need to learn how to figure out what it's trying to communicate, and we want to learn how to actually correct that and fix that. Because the bottom line is the symptom is not normal. So if you have one symptom once a week, or you have that symptom 3 or 4 times a week, and we continue to cover up with medicine, we're only going to suppress the body, and we're going to cause more trouble down the road. And that is an issue that we need to think differently about. I like the analogy. We like to teach people through different analogies, but bringing it back to the car, I think most Americans take better care of their car than they take care of themselves. Would y'all agree with that to a point? So in your car, the service engine light comes on. How many of you guys and gals are going to do something about it? Raise your hand. What are you going to do?
Take it to the doctor.
Take it to the doctor. What else is it? What are you going to do with your car when the service engine light comes on? Take it to the shop. Okay. So let's think about this. Take it to the shop, and you come back, and he says, I fixed your problem. You get in your car, and he took a hammer and broke the service engine light. So it don't work. The symptom's gone. Are you happy with that, or do you think you went to a bad mechanic? So see, we're doing the same thing with our body. We're not trying to figure out what's wrong with it and how to actually correct it. We're taking a hammer and we're breaking the service engine light. We're taking an Advil. We're taking a high blood pressure medicine. We're taking a statin to lower our cholesterol. We're taking a psychotropic to try and balance out the anxiety and stuff that we have. And again, I'm not saying that medicines don't have their place, but we need to ask better questions. And what we like to teach is let's just not stop at the medicine. Let's use the medicine for the intervention, but let's go ahead and figure out, can we fix this? Do you have deficiencies? Do you have a diet problem? Do you have an allergy with the food? Do you have accumulated biotoxins? Do you have hormone issues? What's going on? Do you have issues in your spine that's messing up your nervous system operation? So we need to ask better questions if we want to truly stay well and actually get well. So this is just kind of putting you on the spot here. We already talked about this, but the choice is yours regarding your health. I like people to feel empowered. The thing is, all you have to do is make a decision. You have to get new knowledge about what's going on and make a decision, actually stick with that if you want to make a change in your life. And that's with anything. If you want to change your body composition, we need to change the way that we eat. We need to exercise. If we want to change any symptom that we've chronically been dealing with, we have to decide to make a decision and stick with it. So we actually have more control over our health than we realize. And so raise your hand if you would like to see how you can change your health today. Y'all look real excited about that. Like, what's coming next? What I gotta do? All right, so secret number 1, low calorie, low fat diets don't work. Secret number 1. So how many people tried a low calorie diet before? It's very difficult. Now, yeah, if you go low calorie, and we do use that in different cases and stuff like that, you're definitely going to get lower calories, which means you're lowering your fuel consumption. And usually what your goal is you're trying to basically create a deficit so that your body has to use your fat reserves and your stored energy. But it's very high, and it actually does not work all the time. And here's why. So in a study on calorie diets, they found that that was not alone to actually predict weight loss in everybody. And I've seen that clinically as well. So we believe that cutting the calories, dropping that back, starving yourself, is actually going to make a difference. And we can use that in the right setting. I'm not saying it doesn't work at all. Calories are actually a measure of energy in food. So the basic way to think about food is that it's energy. Whether you're eating a steak, or you're eating an apple, or you're eating a bowl of rice, it's creating energy. It has different nutrients in it that our body needs. But what we're finding out is that doesn't always mean that you will lose weight. And the reason why is because when you start to starve your body senses that you are basically going into a starvation mode. And then it starts to slow the thyroid down. And it starts to slow the metabolism down. So many people find they might lose a little bit of weight initially, but most people, they can't stick with it because then they get what? Hungry. And then a lot of people get tired. And what we see is when you make these real quick changes, and you really cut out too much food too quick, the metabolism slows down, and then probably like, I'd say 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 people, they're going to rebound, they're going to start to binge. Now when they eat, their metabolism slowed down, and usually a good bit of the weight that you lost was actually muscle mass, because a lot of people don't get enough protein intake for their lifestyle and energy expenditure. So now when you go eat like you were a month ago, you eat the same calories, but your metabolism's slower. So that's why people end up putting back 5 extra pounds or 10 extra pounds. So again, this can be used in a correct way, but many times the way people do it, it ends up causing more problems than what they started with. So secret number 2, hormones affect not only your weight, but they also affect your digestion, your energy, sleep, blood pressure, metabolism, and mood. Hormones are very, very powerful substances in the body, chemicals that make things change. So we got 3 main glands, where most of our hormones that we're really focused on, especially clinically. We have the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit right on top of the kidneys. That's where they get their name. They produce a lot of different hormones. There are actually 2 glands in one. You got the medullary part, you got the cortical part. And then we have your thyroid. Has everybody heard of the thyroid before? Correct. Right there in the neck. Basically, your thyroid governs your metabolism. It's going to govern the rate of metabolic reaction in the body. And then we have our pancreas. Pancreas is over here on the left side. Major player in digestion, major player in buffering acid in the GI, and then it produces things like insulin, which is very important for proper blood sugar management. Okay, so we'll talk about the adrenal glands a little bit. The nickname for the adrenal glands is the stress handling glands. Basically, if your adrenal glands stay pretty healthy, you can handle a lot of stress. Your immune system stays high, your energy level stays good, your metabolism stays pretty good. But as soon as these guys start to get tired, your body goes down. We see the metabolism change, we see weight gain, especially around the cortical area. We see blood sugar problems. Adrenals are always involved with blood sugar, hypoglycemia, sugar handling issues. Major player sleep. That cortical part releases cortisol. Your circadian rhythm, which is how we operate with the daylight. You could actually call that your cortisol rhythm. So in the morning, when light hits us or the alarm clock goes off, your body basically makes signals from the pineal down to the adrenals, and you release cortisol. And that's what makes you wake up in the morning. So if you're having trouble waking up in the morning, or you have to have a cup of coffee, that's an indicator that your adrenal glands are actually tired. And then we use that cortisol as a stress hormone. We used to use that to run or fight in a situation. They call it the fight or flight mechanism. Run from the bear or fight the bear. But now we trigger cortisol all day long just because of the way our culture is set up in any type of perceived stress. So you can be releasing cortisol to fight the bear just because you got 50 things to do at work, or because you just got some bad news, about your granddaughter had a flat tire or anything like that. And that causes lots of imbalance, but basically it leads to a wearing down of the adrenal glands, which causes problems with sleep and weight problems and many different things like that. So there's different ways to check them. Of course, we can do testing, the salivary hormone testing is the best to get good cortisol profiles. You can get some real basic tests from a one-shot blood cortisol test, kind of give you a general read. A Robit test that does a pretty good job at testing overall adrenal function is a Ragland's test. So we do that by taking a resting blood pressure and then stress the body by having it stand up. If there's a drop in pressure, that's a pretty good indicator that we have an adrenal imbalance, and we need to do something about that. All right, so real simple thing. We talked about taking action and something that can make a change. One simple thing to reduce your stress on your adrenals is actually reduce your caffeine intake. Believe it or not, people that are living off of coffee, if they would just wean down off of the coffee and take a break from it, most of the time their energy levels would return. Coffee is kind of one of those things where you get started on it, And it causes you to have lots of energy and it stimulates you, but over time, because it's a stimulant, it actually wears your adrenal glands down. And many people never recover from their adrenal problem and their energy problem, even thyroid problem, until they reduce or completely eliminate caffeine, but especially coffee. And I'm not anti-coffee. I even drink coffee, but in certain situations, it's actually wearing that person down. And you might not even have a hypothyroid condition in your body, but too much caffeine and too much coffee can actually slow your thyroid down and definitely cause fatigue to your adrenal glands. And then there are many different types of micronutrients that we use to actually restore your adrenal glands. Things like food-based vitamin C complexes, B complexes in a whole food form, different amino acids like carnitine and tyrosine, things like that. And then just even reducing your sugar actually helps your adrenals recover as well. So also have your thyroid glands. They're involved, like we said, in energy levels, metabolism. When your thyroid gets tired, when it gets tired, most people get tired. And when your thyroid gets tired, most people actually have trouble burning calories. So then it's real easy to start to put on body fat. So it's basically the gas pedal. Those hormones are like the gas pedal in the cell. So common symptoms, have trouble losing weight, get cold easily, have dry skin, feel tired, can lose their hair. One of the first signs is kind of like the dry, brittled hair. And then sometimes people start to lose that lateral third part of their eyebrow. And what's interesting is you can do some basic thyroid tests, but still have a thyroid problem. You could get your TSH done, you could get your T4 checked, and the report is, hey, it looks like your thyroid's doing good. But what we found is a lot of people, we need to use a tighter range, and we need to do a bigger profile on the thyroid. We want to check T3 uptake. We want to look at some of the hormones in their free fraction form and use a little bit tighter range. Because the lab ranges, as good as they are, they can still be pretty broad, and everybody's so different. So one person might be within the normal range, but they're actually pretty hypothyroid, or they have a pretty sluggish thyroid, and it's affecting their mental acuity, their energy. It even affects emotional levels. I found a lot of people with sluggish thyroid actually have a little apathy, sadness, and even sometimes depression. So again, they don't always show up in blood tests. Real simple test. They don't have them at all the drugstores anymore, but you can get it like off of Amazon. But you get the old school mercury thermometer, and it's called a Rotabarn's thyroid test. He was an endocrinologist that believed a lot of people were suffering from thyroid problems, but not getting diagnosed with it. And basically, you take your temperature under your arm in the morning before you get out of bed, and it should be 97.6 degrees or higher. And if it's not, then you actually have a sluggish thyroid, or it could be even hypo, even though you're passing your regular blood test. So that's something really good to check out. Because I tell you, when you realize that someone has a thyroid problem, and then you actually support that thyroid and get that thing going again, they feel tremendously better. It can be a major shift in your health, well-being, and just your vitality. So temperature, there's different expanded panels that we can do. Just be wise with this. I put this in here. Iodine actually helps, is what your body uses that with tyrosine actually make thyroid hormone. So in general, supplementing with the right iodine at small doses can actually improve your thyroid health. But there are some studies that have shown if somebody does have an autoimmune thyroid issue, if they do too much iodine, or maybe they're a little low in a mineral called selenium, it can actually cause an inflammatory response, and they go through a little thyroid type storm with that. So we just have to be wise with that. Not everybody has autoimmune thyroid disease. Real easy test to take. Just take an antibody test, blood test, and we can roll that out real easy. Doesn't mean you don't need iodine, but it's wise to actually let a clinician do that for you. So the pancreas, hormones secreted by the pancreas affect your weight. Determined as food is basically converted into energy or to fat. Carbohydrates and sugars are broken down during digestion into simple sugars. And just remember, carbohydrates carbohydrates are just a bunch of sugars connected together. So when you're talking about reducing sugar intake in your diet, we also have to look at things that turn into sugar, which are like your potatoes and your white products and breads. Those things too, even though you might reduce your refined sugar, that also too can be causing a lot of imbalances that we're talking about. So insulin is key to basically bring the sugar over into the cell so it can be burned for energy. So if there's a lack of it because your pancreas is getting tired, your blood sugar rises, and this is real basically what's going on in type 2 diabetes. Now we have another pancreatic hormone called glucagon. This is released when you don't have enough sugar, so that takes fat and helps convert it back into sugar. So that helps you get some energy. And then of course we lose the fat because now it got converted into energy. And just remember that all fat is stored energy. That's basically all that it is stored energy. Now this is real interesting, so kind of remember this because I want you to take away some of this because this will help you understand why a lot of the popular diets have been so successful for so many people where they're reducing your carbohydrate load and reducing your sugar load. So when insulin is up just a little bit in the body, then the glucagon is not released. And when insulin is up, a lot of other hormones that basically tell you whether you're hungry or not, control your appetite, those get out of balance as well, so that'll cause you not to lose weight. And that's why when you pull these sugars and carbs out, you have a better response with glucagon, so you actually will start to burn more fat. When we stay on glucose all the time, we have too much sugar, so we got plenty of fuel, and when you have plenty of fuel, then the rest of it you can store in your muscle, your liver, and that gets full. That's a reserve tank. Then the rest of it basically gets turned into fat. And that's why we have slow metabolism and have a lot of body fat issues. So, profound stat here. We consume on average in America 120 pounds of sugar a year. 120 pounds. So a couple hundred years ago, we might have consumed maybe like 3 pounds of sugar. So today we consume 120 pounds of sugar. So my question to you is, do you think the sugar has anything to do with all the different problems that we suffer from? Because we just go back a couple slides and we showed you all the things linked to excessive sugar intake, or all the things related to diabetes. But the thing is you don't have to go too far back. Before somebody's type 2 diabetic, there's been stuff happening in their body, their lifestyle has been affecting them, pushing them into type 2 diabetes. You don't just have perfect health today, and then next week you're going to have type 2 diabetes. It has to do with their foods, deficiencies, stress, and all these different things. And what I was trying to teach you is before people even go to type 2 diabetic, that stage before that is called insulin resistance. So as you start to get resistant to the insulin, all these other things that I talked about, they're building in. So if you have a higher risk for stroke, kidney problems, and heart attack, when you are type 2 diabetic, back up, and when you're insulin resistant, all that stuff is actually building up in your body. So one of the best things we can do to help anything I've mentioned, thyroid problems, diabetes, weight problems, thyroid, AD, autoimmune disease, cancer, any of it, is to start to pull the sugar back. One of the new programs we've been doing is we've been using ketogenic principles in our clinic for different cases. And I've got a case in today. She just moved over here from Africa, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer over there. Well, the doctor that they found to go to, he's actually practicing natural medicine like we practice. So he put her on a ketogenic diet, put her on some different nutrients. I'm not anti-chemo or anything, but I do believe there are some better solutions that just haven't been explored enough. Long story short, I'm basically pulling all the sugar and reducing the carbohydrates down, putting her on some special medicinal fats and nutrients. Her breast tumor is almost completely gone. It's shrunk by, I think it was like 70%. So just think about that. If we can pull the sugar and the refined food out, and in certain cases, see the body start to regenerate and tumors and disease go away. Don't you think that as we eat more of these processed foods and refined foods and don't get the right nutrients, that we're building into the sickness and disease? So that's an awesome thing to realize, because now that puts the power back into your hands. And now it's not like you're going through life thinking it's a lottery, a complete total lottery, whether you get sick or not. Now we're starting to learn that we actually have more control over whether we get sick or not. And it's a matter of having the right knowledge. And I will tell you, practicing this for over 10 years, getting the body moving, using chiropractor, the way it affects the nervous system, and correcting deficiencies and changing the diet, we have all kinds of cases, and you name it, for whatever, these people are better now because we changed their nutrition. It's a profound thing to get a hold of. But basically, when the pancreas keeps producing the insulin, it basically gets tired. And then the cells become insulin resistant. And that's what we see as a major player in all sickness, disease, with these metabolic problems in this early stage insulin resistance. Okay, so when it becomes resistant, glucagon is no longer released. It basically gets frozen. You're not able to lose weight. So my recommendation to you, if you want to really change something, is start cutting the sugar out of your diet. How many of you still eat like sugar, like pastries, donuts, bread, white sugar in the coffee, desserts, things like that? It's not about never having that at all, but when you have changes in your body, you're dealing with something, we have to make some changes to heal the body. And one of the most important things is to pull the sugar out of your diet, just to pull it out. In one of my seminars, I haven't done this one in a while, but it was actually on ADD, ADHD. And I pulled 4 food records from current patients that I had back then that all had ADD, ADHD. And then so we read it out, and all these kids, it was like milk, cereal, orange juice, Kool-Aid, chocolate chip cookies, M&Ms, chicken nuggets, French fries. There was no fruit, there was no vegetables on there. They didn't even drink water. So then I would ask everybody, what do you think, what condition do all 4 of these people have? And even though the seminar was on ADD, ADHD, they still couldn't answer it. But every single one of those kids had ADD, ADHD. So I'm telling you, there's a major link to our diet and our foods to every condition that we're facing. So pulling these refined sugar products out can be profound for you. All right, so how do we control insulin? Well, we want to get proper amount of protein. We want to get more complex carbohydrates that don't break down into sugars fast, so that's pulling out these refined sugars. We want to get lots of vegetables and good fats. Lots of vegetables and good fats. If your diet looks like that most of the time, this is actually a pretty good diet for people to be on. Nice, healthy, clean meats, diversify your proteins, a rainbow of vegetables, nuts, seeds. People do really well on that diet. So a high protein meal decreases insulin, decreases glucagon levels, reduces stored fat, and that helps to lose weight in most individuals. All right, secret number 3, to be healthy, you must eat and drink only those things that are healthy for your body. Stay away from junk food. Stay away from junk food. I've had patients where all we did was basically set a goal. You're not going to eat McDonald's and Burger King or wherever they were going for the next month. And those patients come back and they say they feel so much better. I'm not anti having a fast food burger. But the thing is, have any of us seen what they put in some of this stuff? The McDonald's hamburger patties, that's not all meat. It's chemicals, it's flavorings, it's got, I think, some soy proteins in it. And then if you see how some of these places even raise their animal, we're not talking about healthy cow meat. So we got to think about that. And one of the most unhealthy foods on planet Earth, the 2 most unhealthy foods, are French fries from fast food places, and what's the other one? Donuts. Donuts. Think about a donut. Stripped out white flour turns into sugar. And then we put some, what on top of it? More sugar. But before we put the sugar on it, what did we throw it into? Exactly. Yeah, and that's not clean oil either. It's hydrogenated oil. Anyway, if I could, we're not finished with this, but if I could just leave you with something right now because it's on my mind, and I tell this at a lot of places that I talk. I think the best thing you could do to change our nation, to even change the world, is just get on the highest places you could and just tell people it's the food. It's the food. It's the food. And it's huge though, because the food, we think of it as a waistline thing. Oh, if I eat bad food, then I'm going to be fat. If I eat good food, hopefully I won't be fat. But that's not it. It's affecting your neurochemistry. It's affecting the function of your organs. It's affecting your emotional health. And what we don't realize is when we eat all these foods, it's affecting our body's ability to function. It's affecting our ability to express ourselves. It's affecting our ability to even serve the people we're here to serve, our family, our career. It's affecting us to even be able to finish what God called us to do. We have to steward our body, and we can't take it lightly. And the food is probably one of the biggest things that's hindering people in their health and their vitality and their service to God, is the food. So stay away from junk food. It's real simple. One of the easiest things you can do to make a step into wellness is start to eat real food. And that's what I'm trying to teach from that, is eat more real food. If you went 3 months and ate nothing but real food, no sugar, no refined carbohydrates, stuff in their most natural state, I guarantee you most of y'all will lose weight, feel better, and be happier and be nicer to your spouse. So trans fats is the stuff that we're having trouble with here. The deal is with fast food is they have to make a profit, so they got to figure out how to make that stuff taste good and be as cheap as possible, and that's what the problem is. So we're putting things like trans fatty acids. This is all man-made stuff. It's designed to last on the grocery shelf for a long time, but actually lasts in our body a long time too. It takes 180 days to a year to get trans fats out of your body. So these foods have all of that stuff in there. And then you got the supersized meat soda back there, full of high fructose corn syrup and dye. That is one of the worst things you can do for your metabolism. Definitely a big player in diabetes, blood sugar problems, energy issues, all kinds of things. It definitely goes on the waistline real quick. So that's a picture of margarine. It looks real good. It's very toxic. A lot of people don't know this. So got this Dr. Will at Harvard School of Public Health. So he's pretty knowledgeable, reputable guy. Eating trans fatty acids, particularly margarine, kills 30 to 100,000 people every year from heart disease. So this stuff is bad for your cells and it's bad for your organs. So we've all heard about consuming vegetables and fruits every day, but you know why? Here's a big reason why. We're getting exposed to a lot of pollution, just even the stress in our body. It creates free radicals. Free radicals are basically unstable, so when they hit cells, they damage them. They cause cell destruction. They've even been shown to alter DNA. Tobacco smoke is a big one. Just even like we looked at the fast food. Fast food has a lot of free radicals in it because of the bad oils and the frying and all those different things like that. So those things can actually damage your body, but what's cool is these whole foods like vegetables and fruits have micronutrients and antioxidants that actually help to fight that. So that protects your body from this free radical damage and toxic damage. We've got some cool studies too to support all this stuff. Food Research Institute says bringing these levels of fruits and vegetables up actually reduce your risk for cancer, heart attack, and stroke. Drinking water is a big deal. I have patients who do a food record. Guess what's not on there? You don't drink any water. There might be Diet Coke drinkers, just straight up coffee and Diet Coke. Might just be nothing but soda pop. Some people, all they drink is Coca-Cola. Some people, all they drink is juice. And that's not good either because that's too much sugar. There's not a perfect formula for water. It really depends on your activity. But a good basic minimal formula is take your weight, divide it by half, and that's how many ounces you should have. Another good recommendation is 4 60-ounce bottles of water a day. But just make sure you're drinking water every day. A good habit to start, you can write this down because it makes a difference. One of the first things you can do when you wake up in the morning is drink a glass of water. So if some of you guys are drinking 4 cups of coffee, what's happening many times is that you're actually hydrating on the coffee. So if you drink that 16 ounce or 8 ounce glass of water, you'll find that you probably end up cutting your coffee intake down to 1 or 2, and you'll feel just as energized on that. So make sure you start to drink water. So this is real interesting here. A study in environmental science technology journal said that drugs, antibiotics, hormones, painkillers, tranquilizers, chemotherapy drugs have actually been measured in groundwater and tap water. The U.S. supply has 10 times more antibiotics than the German supply. So the thing is we need to do our best to drink spring water or some type of filtered water. Spring water or filtered water. All right, secret number 4, you must exercise to be healthy and lose weight. Raise your hand if you exercise. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Big thing is just to get started with it. So somebody tell me why exercise helps you lose weight. Yeah, you're having to use energy. Remember we talked about food. Food is basically, it's turned into energy, right? And if we eat too much or eat the wrong way, what does that energy turn into? Fat, right? So exercise builds muscles. The thing to remember on this, the reason why it's important to have muscle mass is because that's where most of your metabolism is. Your muscles require lots of energy to operate. So the more muscle you have, the more calories you will burn. So metabolism converts food into energy. We just talked about that. So if you don't have enough metabolism, then food becomes fat. So the metabolism thing is key. So that's why you can get in trouble going low calorie too quick or not doing that properly, not exercising. Unfortunately, women have 10% slower metabolism. A lot of that has to do with muscle mass. I like this study here, California State. 10-minute walk was enough to increase energy, alter mood, and create a positive outlook. So just moving improves, neurotransmitter function, circulation, oxygen to the brain, oxygen to your tissues. It's a very, very good way to start. If you're not exercising at all, it's just 10 minutes of walking. Try to get that in every day. I found with habits, it's easier to create a habit that you do daily versus a habit that you do like twice a week or twice a month. It's just easier to remember. It becomes a part of your routine. So creating some type of exercise, just getting something started will make a big difference. Another study here at Harvard, walking 30 minutes a day reduced incidence of breast cancer 70%. That is amazing. That doesn't even cost anything except a little bit of time. All right, so to lose weight and be healthy, you must look at how active you are, and we want to increase muscle mass. Secret number 5, a lot of people don't even consider this one here, but you have to get out of pain. Getting out of pain is a big thing. We actually are in an epidemic of opioid use here in the United States because of people in pain. We actually lost a family member to addiction, to pain medicines. And she got in a car accident. I wasn't part of the family at that time, but she got in a real bad car accident. And she never did physical therapy. She never did chiropractic. Exercise was never involved with that. The first thing she got for the pain was medicine. And then it was just an ongoing thing, on and off medicine for years. And finally she just did too much and her heart couldn't take it. So it's a big deal, pain. It's something you definitely don't want to continue. And I found out a lot of symptoms that people just deal with over and over again is pain. Neck pain, back pain, all those different things. But it's just like any symptom. We need to figure out what it is. We don't just want to take an Advil or an NSAID or pain medicine for that. We want to actually fix it. The body's trying to tell us something is wrong. All right, so let's kind of connect some of this together. So to lose weight, you need to increase muscle mass. But people actually, here in America, one of their greatest things to muscle mass is they don't want to exercise because we're couch potatoes. We go home and we watch a couple hours of TV. But we could substitute some of that TV for 10 minutes of walking or 20 minutes of walking, something real simple like that. So one main reason people choose not to be active is they actually hurt. We see that a lot. Or they even get motivated, they get started, but then they start hurting, so then they can't continue that. So this is a study of pain in America. Found that 89% of adult Americans had some sort of pain. So that's pretty high there. So I just want to teach you some stuff. This kind of talks about the nervous system and even chiropractic a bit, but just I want you to realize this. If cause your pain's not apparent, like a recent fall, it could be due to undetected nerve damage. Undetected nerve damage. So we have so many traumas. I mean, kids have thousands of traumas. 10 contact sports, auto accidents. Today in our culture, we have a lot of repetitive motion injuries. You know, just from even like being on the keyboard, the mouse, chiropractor even has repetitive motion injuries. All these different things, just your posture, that can be considered a repetitive type motion issue. So this is a picture of the spinal column and nerves. Traumas can leave a person with undetected nerve damage. Now, it's actually a good thing if you notice some pain from it, but a lot of people have undetected nerve damage and they don't even feel any pain. The problem with this is, especially in the spine, these nerves aren't just going to your muscles. Where else do those nerves go to? Yeah. Your feedback to the brain, go to your limbs. What else do those nerves go to? Your organs. Your organs. So this is an issue when we have undetected trauma in the spine. It's good if we feel the pain because we'll probably do something about it, but we don't realize is most of the nerves are actually controlling function. Very few of the nerves actually control pain, so we're actually losing function. It's the thyroid. I've seen patients real bad whiplash in a car accident. They start having thyroid problems. They have undetected nerve damage in their neck, and it's shutting off the optimal supply of blood circulation and nerve conduction to the thyroid. They start having thyroid issues. Same thing with the pancreas. Same thing with even I've seen major low back problems with men. It's actually affecting their ability to get erection, affecting their prostate, many different things like that. So the combination of pain, digestive problems, like metabolism, that all contributes to weight issues. So it's definitely a holistic thing. So we're big proponents on believing if you want to get better, you need to have a specific program designed for you. You need to really figure out what's going on. You know, people come in like, can you help me with my hormones? Well, yeah, we can help you with your hormones, but I want to help you. I want to help that entire person. Your digestion affects your hormones. Your adrenals affect your hormones. Your diet affects your hormones. So I believe that the true way to really optimize your health and actually enjoy the vitality and what I say you need is some type of holistic approach where you're getting everything looked at. We have to start to value our body more than we value anything else. Your greatest asset is your body. If your body is broken down, then nothing works. You can't go to work sometimes. You can't serve as a mom or a husband. Coming back to the spiritual side, some of us are so sick we can't even fulfill what God's asking us to do or called us to do because our body's so weak and broken down. In our culture, we've put material things at more importance than our own body, even more important than our spiritual life. And we suffer our marriage and bad relationships with our kids and stuff because we're working so hard to have more stuff. But we need to start to put things back in line, and that's a major thing that we try to teach people is just to get the values right. You start getting your values right, and many times you see your health get better. You see healthy your relationships get better. We spend more money on our houses and more money going out to eat and more money on food sometimes and different things than we even spend on ourselves. So we need to make sure that we realize our body is a very important asset. We have to take care of it. So that's what the holistic approach is and a wellness-based approach. And even what we taught you today, that was a holistic type teaching. There's many things there that you can take from that and have a holistic application to make a change in your lifestyle and your body. But what's the most important thing? You can learn knowledge, but what do you have to do with it to make it work? You got to use it. You got to act on it. All right, so just like to close today, you guys filled out your forms. We're actually doing a drawing today, which is cool. Miss Jen will do that. It's a $25 gift card.
Yeah.
To where?
Tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so you can spend that here. Cool, excellent. And then we also like to offer you a gift when people come to the office. We actually offer you a gift to get a complimentary wellness evaluation. We spend a lot of time with you. It doesn't cost you anything. We decided to do that kind of as a community service, and we didn't want anybody to have a barrier to like learning what's going on with their body. If we think we can help you, we'll let you know. If we think we can't, then we'll actually make you a referral. We've done that before, the right professional. But anyways, I'll let Ms. June take over. I want you guys to give yourselves a hand clap. So we're doing something different. Thanks for listening to me. I appreciate you coming out to the office. But I definitely urge you, just think about the things that we talked about. Any of these things, if you follow through with that, it's going to make a difference in your health. And I would just say, even from a spiritual side, start to realize how important your body is. Let's not abuse our body. Let's learn more about our body, how to take care of our body, because you take care of your body, and that's how you really actually take care of others in your life. And that's how you feel fulfilled, and you can actually have the energy and vitality to do the things that you were designed to do. So I just urge you to think about that. Thank you for your time. Questions? Yeah. No, that was in Africa. Yeah, South Africa. Yeah, so they actually they call around a lot of places, and they decided to take care here, so we could continue the program. So really excited to do that. Any other quick questions? Okay, I'll let Jen take them.
Okay, good job. All right, so we appreciate you guys for coming. If anyone is new to our office, we do give the complimentary gift card if anyone wants